Salve a tutti. Picture two scenarios with me. First, we meet Sarah, a remarkable woman living with quadriplegia. For most of her life, she could not move any of her limbs due to a car accident. But she can now finally wear a sleek robotic exoskeleton that she controls with her brain, allowing her to walk freely once again. She just needs to think about going in a certain direction and at a certain speed, and an artificial intelligence will translate her thoughts into actions that her robotic body overlay will execute. It sounds utopian, doesn't it? Now let's meet Alex. Alex has a weakness for sweets. Although he tries to eat healthily and exercise every day, he cannot resist this caloric temptation, making it impossible for him to lose weight. Things have gotten worse since companies can mine data directly from people's brains. His brain-controlled smartphone knows that his neurons light up with craving at the mere thought of a chocolate bar. So these companies use its data to bombard Alex's mind with personalized subliminal ads that intervene directly into his mind. It sounds dystopian, doesn't it? But Sarah and Alex are not real. They are AI-generated images. But their stories are neither utopian nor dystopian. They're just two examples of the brave new world we are entering in. This is a world where humans and machines are connected in the most intimate of all ways, through our brains. In fact, Sarah's ability to move, Alex's preferences and desires, as well as all your memories, from your first kiss to your plans for the next Christmas holiday, everything each of you has ever experienced, heard, smelled, said, seen in the course of your life, every action you made, in this very experience of listening to me right now, none of this would have ever been possible without this 1,300 grams of matter inside your skull. The brain is the conductor of the symphony of our lives. But for the most part of human history, the brain has been a black box. We simply lack the tools to decode its inner workings. But now, thanks to advances in artificial intelligence and neuroscience, we can now have the tools to start unboxing the black box and look more and more into the inner working and the deep essence of who we are. Even more, we cannot simply observe our thoughts, but we can modify who we are. The technology that is making this possible, it's called the neural interface. A neural interface is like a high-tech bridge between your brain and the outside world. It allows your brain to talk to machines like smartphones, computers, or robots, and vice versa. And when I say talk, I really mean that it lets your brain processes communicate with computers, and computers communicate with your brain. But brains and machines don't speak the same language. And therefore, just like when we don't speak the same language with someone else, for this communication to happen, we need a translator. Artificial intelligence is the translator in this conversation. It helps your brain signals, which are otherwise like secret codes, make sense to machines, and it helps machine signals make sense to your brain. For example, if Sarah wants to turn left, she just needs to translate, so an AI system will translate her brain signal turn left into an actionable command that the robotic exoskeleton will then execute. So AI is making sure that everybody speaks the same language so that your brain and the machine can work together smoothly. In a way, we can say that neural interfaces are the ultimate destination of the journey of artificial intelligence. In fact, if we look at the history of AI, we will see that intelligent machines have become increasingly intimate into our lives. It all started with artificial intelligence programs to play chess and business intelligence applications. They were the pioneers, crunching numbers, and making sense of data far away from our daily lives. They could learn, but they kept their distance. But then, in the last 15 years, AI features became embedded into our private lives. Home assistants began entering our private homes, helping us with daily tasks. And around the same time, AI features in our smartphones made AI available at our fingertips. They were in our pockets, and they could answer our questions, helping us to navigate the world, find information, and even suggest what to say. And now we find ourselves at the threshold of an historical moment in the AI journey. Neural interfaces are the culmination of artificial intelligence intimacy with us. By venturing into our brain, AI ventures into the very coordinating center of who we are, the conductor of the symphony. Neural interfaces mean that AI is not just around us, it's inside us. And in a sense, it becomes us. It's a stargate of a world where the boundary between humans and machines blurs. A future where we can control devices with our thoughts or receive information directly into our minds. Back in the 1960s, one of the fathers of computer science, J.C.R. Licklider, prophetically called this relationship human-machine symbiosis. My colleagues and I have called it the hybrid mind. Just like a hybrid car has two engines, one combustion engine and one electrical one, so a hybrid mind consists of two well-synchronized systems, one biological and one artificial. Let me give you a couple of examples. In the realm of medical technology, neural interfaces have made remarkable progress in restoring mobility to individuals with spinal cord injuries. These interfaces establish a direct link between a patient's nervous system and an external device, such as you hear here, a robotic exoskeleton. This technology interprets neural signals and translates them into physical actions, enabling individuals with limited mobility or mobility impairments regain their independence and freedom. Thanks to one of these interfaces, some of my Swiss colleagues at EPFL were able to make a paralyzed person walk again, just like Sarah. Another example are closed-loop brain-computer interfaces for people with epilepsy. These devices are like super smart bodyguards made of tiny sensors that are always watching out for trouble in the brain. When they sense something that looks like a seizure might be coming, they immediately alert the patient, which can be life-saving if the patient is engaging in activities like driving or swimming. In some cases, they can even zap a little electricity in the brain where and when it's needed to prevent the seizure. This all sounds like the best of all worlds, doesn't it? But there are challenges. AI-powered neural interfaces are no longer confined within the clinical and research domain. They have proliferated into a variety of consumer-grade applications that are available outside of the clinic, becoming popular in domains such as marketing, labor, education, law enforcement, and even the military. Non-medical neural interfaces are now a growing market. Several companies today are already selling neural interfaces that can record brain activity from outside the skull, hence can be used by anyone, including healthy people. Thanks to the miniaturization of electrodes, companies can now record electrical activity in your brain through devices as simple as earbuds. In fact, Apple has just issued a patent on this topic. In the meantime, companies like Elon Musk's Neuralink have the long-term goal of developing implantable neural interfaces for everyone. Not all applications of neural interfaces outside the clinics are socially desirable. Neural interfaces are being implemented in the workplace to monitor the employee's brain activity. They gather continuous data on an employee's cognitive states, such as attention, stress, and even emotions. This information is used to assess productivity, and employers could potentially use this data to make decisions about workload adjustments, promotions, or layoffs. They may even use it to predict a worker's probability of developing a mental illness, like schizophrenia or depression. In military context, neural interfaces are being experimented to adjust soldiers' cognitive states, optimize cognitive alert, and focus during combat. Soon, soldiers may have their mental states controlled and modulated through AI, potentially impacting their perception of fear and their decision-making abilities. These examples show that with this unprecedented intimacy between brains and AI also comes great responsibility. One sensitive area is privacy. As AI delves into the depths of our thoughts, how do we protect our innermost musings from unwanted intrusions? How do we ensure that the data collected by neural interfaces are used by us and for us, but not to discriminate individuals based on their thoughts, emotions, or neuropsychiatric health? More generally, brain data are likely to become a gold mine for our data economy, laying the foundations for a neurocapitalist society in which thoughts are extracted and sold for profit. So again, how can we retain ownership over our data and ensure that they are used by us and for us and not exploited against us? Furthermore, the moment we hook the brain up to a computer, we make it vulnerable to all the computer's vulnerabilities, including hacking, phishing, data breaches. And it's not only a problem of access, it's also a problem of manipulation. If neural interfaces reach mass adoption for purposes like marketing, social media, entertainment, there is a potential for AI or external forces to influence thoughts or emotions. So how do we safeguard against malicious manipulation or unwanted alterations of our cognitive states? And as we merge with AI, as our thoughts blend with machine intelligence, what does it mean to be me? How do we maintain our sense of self and the individuality in a world where human-AI hybridity blurs the lines of identity? Finally, if, as it's highly possible, in a not-too-distant future we will have some technologies capable of enhancing processes such as vision or memory in the general population, how we ensure that these technologies are accessible to all and will not end up amplifying the already enormous socioeconomic inequalities that we have across the world? These ethical challenges demand our reflection, attention, and responsible action. We should embrace the future with hope, but we should also navigate it with wisdom. To understand this, let's return to Licklider's metaphor of human-machine symbiosis. What does symbiosis mean? It actually comes from ancient Greek, and it simply means living together. In biology, it's any type of interaction between two organisms of different species. However, not all interactions are the same. In nature, organisms can form two types of partnerships: mutualistic partnerships, where the two parties have mutual benefit, and parasitic partnerships, in which one party harms the other. This, for example, is an animal with which we live in symbiosis. It's the Anopheles mosquito. It is, however, a parasitic symbiosis. This mosquito carries the single-cell parasite that causes malaria. The mosquito benefits from us, obtaining a free blood meal, which is useful for their nutrition and reproduction. But humans, in contrast, do not profit from this interaction at all and may rather suffer the harm due to malaria transmission. In fact, every year, 600,000 people die of malaria worldwide. Here's another example. This is the interaction, the symbiotic interaction between a bee and a flower. In this graceful partnership, bees seek nectar from flowers while inadvertently transferring pollen between them, facilitating the reproduction of plants. The delicate dance between bees and flowers is a beautiful example of mutualistic symbiosis where both parties benefit. In nature, mutualistic symbiosis is a testament to how cooperation can lead to flourishing. And in our journey with artificial intelligence, we stand at a crossroads between exactly these two types of symbiosis. So how can we ensure that our symbiosis with AI will be a mutualistic one, like the bee and the flower? This is where the concept of Neurorights comes into play. I have introduced this notion together with legal scholar Roberto Adorno in 2017 to recognize the fundamental human rights principle that protect the brain and mind in the age of human-machine symbiosis. Neurorights aim to ensure that everyone can have control over their minds and brains. Hence, their mental and brain processes can be protected from unwarranted intrusion or external manipulation. If the brain is the fundamental coordinating center of the human, then interfering with the brain means interfering with the essence of being a human being. If the brain is the conductor of the symphony, then an interference in the neural interface may turn a symphony into a dissonance. So we have proposed 4 Neurorights: the right to cognitive liberty, the right to mental privacy, the right to mental integrity, and the right to psychological continuity. Cognitive liberty is the most important Neuroright because, as my colleague Nida Farahani has argued, it's the one that bundles all of them together. It's the idea that we all have the right to control our thoughts and cognitive processes. It ensures that our minds remain free from external alteration due to AI or third parties. It's everyone's right to decide for themselves whether and when to allow access or to alter their minds. Mental privacy is our right to maintain our thoughts and cognitive processes private, and the ability and right to exercise control over our minds. It ensures that external entities like companies or the government cannot tamper our private mental states without our consent. The right to mental privacy would also allow Alex to keep his passion for sweets private. And it would also allow to keep secluded from interference all other types of brain data that can be used to make inferences or derive information from the neural activity, such as sexual orientation, addiction to substances, or the likelihood to develop a mental illness. Mental integrity protects our minds from harm. For example, harm caused by hacking a neural interface that we are using. And finally, psychological continuity ensures that our sense of self remains continuous and unbroken, even as we integrate with artificial intelligence. It safeguards our personal identity and ensures that we remain true to who we are, even when our mind becomes a hybrid one. So after AI components merge with our biological brain. The idea of Neurorights is not just ethical theory, but it's an idea that it's transforming political action worldwide. Last year, the United Nations Human Rights Council approved a motion resolution on neurotechnology and human rights. In July this year, UNESCO organized an international conference in Paris and is now working on developing a universal recommendation on this topic. And less than a month ago, the digital ministers of the European Union signed in León, Spain, a declaration on human focus and rights-oriented approach to these technologies. Furthermore, my colleagues and I are working together with engineers and clinicians and patients to incorporate these principles into the very way neural interfaces are designed, built, and developed. We are at historical crossroads. It is up to us to decide whether we want to live in a world where AI acts like the mosquito malaria that profits from us at our expenses. A world where it feeds on our brain data as if they were blood and uses them to erase our privacy forever, reduce our rational control over our lives, and erode the rights that we have acquired after decades of social struggles, and lead us to a less egalitarian society for the benefit of the few. Or we can live in a world where AI will be our bee, whose industrious work and graceful flight will propagate our brain power, like pollen, help the worse off, like people with disability, and allow humanity to discover the deepest, uncharted essence of who we are, so we can collectively flourish like a blossoming garden. The time for this decision is now. Philosopher René Descartes said, "Cogito ergo sum," I think, therefore I am. But if our freedom to think vanishes, we will vanish too. So this is a decision where we cannot make mistakes. Think about it, because it takes brains to make the right decisions about the brain. Thank you.